Welcome everyone to Parenting Roadmaps, a video series produced to help guide parents through the journey of child development. This specific series is focused on the preschool child, and we are already on episode number 11 for the fall 2021 series. Today, we are going to look at one activity that you may or may not have tried with your preschooler, and it is baking. Up front, I want to clarify here that I'm talking specifically about baking, where you use an oven to prepare your food. So let's start looking at a dozen reasons to get baking. As I've done before, we are going to break down the activity of baking into the different domains of child development, and I'm going to start off with the physical domain. Reason number one, let's start with body awareness. Here I'm referring to what we think about with the five senses of touching, seeing, hearing, and paying special attention to smelling and tasting. When you are baking, talk about all the different ways baking awakens the five senses. Touching the sticky dough, seeing how the color of the dough changes when we bake it, hearing the sound of the mixer, and then the two senses perfect for baking. Can you smell the cinnamon? And let's taste that delicious pumpkin muffin. Reason number two, because baking can have tasks that aren't always safe for young children. Be sure to include them in activities where it is safe, especially the heavy lifting. Carrying the bag of flour or sugar, lifting those bags up to the counter. Kneading is another great activity to work those larger muscles. Reason number three, get those fingers and hands moving. A good baking activity can be cakes or cookies that will need decorating. Sprinkling decorations on top is a great way to work on those fine motor skills. Reason number four, whether you're pouring or dumping ingredients into a bowl, this task helps your child improve their eye-hand coordination, where your brain uses messages from your eyes to guide the movements of your hands. Moving into the cognitive domain. Reason number five, whenever you're in a kitchen, there is always a problem to be solved. Are you doubling a recipe? How much sugar should we add? Does your batter look too runny? Baking can help you and your child develop creative ways to solve problems. Through baking, you can demonstrate different ways to solve a problem and how we can think through which solution to try. Reason number six, when you follow directions, you're exposing your child to the concept of ordinal numbers, first, second, third, and so on. This is a different concept than counting. Following the steps of a recipe is a great way to help children learn that sometimes we have to do things in a specific order for things to come out correctly. Reason number seven, when you bake, your creation has to spend some time in the oven. Use this as a way to help your child begin to understand the concept of time. Cookies might bake for 10 minutes, so maybe the length of time needed to read 2 stories. But the loaf of bread might need to bake for an hour, the amount of time it takes to go to the grocery store. Next, the speech and language domain. Reason number 8. What a great way to introduce new vocabulary. Your child probably knows what a cake is, but how about all the ingredients that make up the cake? How about learning that the word we hear as flour can have different meanings? Reason number 9. As you are baking, this can be a great time to ask questions. Who, what, where, when, and why? These questions are a great way to build conversation skills and help you see if your preschooler is understanding new concepts as you bake. And finally, the social and emotional domain. Reason number 10. To work hard at something and to create something delicious can be a very rewarding experience for a preschooler. Baking can be a fun and unique way to build self-confidence. Reason number 11. And here's where baking can differ from other cooking activities. You are always going to have to put whatever it is you are creating in the oven and let it bake for some amount of time. And then you're going to need to let it cool down. Baking requires delayed gratification, a key component in developing self-regulation. And finally, reason number 12. Baking a yummy dish can easily lend itself to sharing. Not taking turns, but sharing. Once someone eats that baked good, there's no getting it back. Sharing isn't always easy for preschoolers, but when you are proud of what you've created, sometimes it's easier to share some of your creation so that others can enjoy it as well. In all honesty, I could keep this list going way past these 12 reasons. An activity like baking is a wonderful way to support your child's development, not just in one specific area, but across all the domains. And to round it out with a baker's dozen, you will be creating memories with your child that will last a lifetime. Baking in the kitchen has a special way of bringing people together. So embrace these simple experiences like baking and celebrate the memories that you can make along the way. Next week, we will conclude our fall series, so be sure to tune in. And as always, remember to enjoy the journey.